The art of using compelling words, using words to persuade, to influence, to sell. There is nothing more important than that. So today we're going to go deep dive on the art of copywriting with one of real estate's premier copywriting coaches that I learned from back when I was a rookie. I'm talking about none other than Ray Wood. Strap in. We're going to get into compelling words right now. You want the normal real estate training you've been told a million times? Make cold calls, knock on doors. Best be switching off now, because in this podcast, we go out of the box using unknown tactics, primarily, that the real estate industry's never heard of, in order to get you called in more often, convert those listings, and get more success without the painful cold calling. Listen up, we're in for a ride. This is Real Estate Renegades. So welcome, folks, to a masterclass. I've been looking forward to this for some time. I've been a fan and a student of the great man above us right now, and we're going to go deep dive into Ray's skill set. So I'm talking about none other than a person who, when I was a real estate agent, I went to several seminars on to learn the power of the written word, how to market, how to write copy, how to get my letters to actually do something, because before I met Ray Wood, they were doing nothing. So I'm talking about again, co-owner. Your list of credentials is a mile long, but co-owner and business partner of Locked On with our mutual friend Aaron Shiner, coach to, like anyone who's anyone. And I would say, Ray, I don't know of anyone whose words in the written sense have attracted more appraisals than your good self. So, sir, Ray Wood, welcome to hanging out, my man.
Thank you, Glenn. Before we get started, buddy, I've got one question. How long have you been seeing my barber?
Oh my goodness, Ray. For me, it was one out, all out. I thought as soon as I started to hit my 30s and it was going back, I thought, nah, done.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Glenn. It's lovely to be here, and hi everybody who's watching live. So we're gonna trot out some pretty awesome content today. Certainly give you a few ideas you can start using straight away.
Well, Ray, it's the power of this. Fascinated me back when I was an agent, in that you can say something one way, and you can say the exact same thing a different way, but using slightly different words, and you can vastly, dramatically, like not just incrementally, but multiples of 200%, 300%, 500% increase your response. And to the logical brain, it looks like we're saying exactly the same thing. What is it about words that so dramatically matter when affecting behavior of other people in influence?
Excellent question, Glenn. And I've often wondered the same thing. I don't know that there's a specific answer to it, but I think we're raised to read and write. Then we're raised to understand the power of a good story. And then as we get older, we need to be able to write to survive. You need to be able to put a great sentence together to, I don't know, if you want to sell your car, or if you want to write your girlfriend a love letter or something like that. I think words are beautiful, and you got to love the English language. It's just raped and pillaged everything in its path to grab those words that, and it'll swing into other languages and apropos of nothing, to create different scenarios and even words like, let me use a risque example like menage a trois. We don't have anything like that in English, so we've just used it for our own. So it's a language that's evolved over centuries, and used correctly, it's very, very powerful. Now we're in this unique situation where we've got the digital world, right? So we're able to get things going from the digital side of things, which means that when we're writing a post on Facebook or Instagram, or we're sending an email, perhaps more importantly, especially a marketing email, that's very powerful as well. So words are powerful. If they're used correctly, they have impact. If they're used poorly, they have kind of negative impact. So that's kind of what I'm about. And direct mail power, the one of the first things I ever wrote and produced, and I can tell you a little story as to how that came about. It was 1990, and things were tough. My brother David and I had just opened our business in Paran, on High Street in Paran in Melbourne, and we were we were just really struggling. We didn't have any old school tie collections. We didn't have a lot of stuff. And ultimately, long story short, we wasted a lot of money on different marketing ideas. And I eventually came up with the idea for a book, which has since become How to Sell Your Home for More. But I figured if I could package the information, and I was very, very good at going to somebody's home or apartment or unit and showing them how they could present it, use the right colors, use the right setup, that sort of thing. And I really got a great following for that, which is kind of essentially what the book's about. And then I kind of got the idea, well, there's no real recommended retail price in real estate. So if I can show a seller how they can influence their selling price, I can help them get a better result, and I can be their agent. And when you've got a compelling argument that shows somebody how they can get a better price, then all argument of reducing commission and fees and stuff goes out the window. So and like ultimately, if you think about if you're competing right now with there's more agents around than there ever were. My goodness, if you're competing with somebody now, if you can't get them a better price, and if you can't back yourself to get them a better result, then how are you going to compete? I believe people want three things. They want, number one, a top market price, better than their neighbour. I believe they want it sold in a reasonable selling time. Nobody wants to be on the market forever. And three, they want a good real estate experience. So the whole idea with the book was to package that up and show people how they could get that. So how did I promote it? I wouldn't just give the book out. That's when the whole idea of direct mail came into being. And I said, okay, here's the problem, and I'll go through the formula in a sec, but here's the issue. Here's how you solve it. Connect up with me and I'll give you the result you're looking for.
Yeah, that's what I'm loving, that hopefully in today's little session here, and I've already written down one question for you about how copywriting may have changed for new media, i.e. Facebook and stuff. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to go deep into this. So I have a question for later, but let me get to this first. In that, when we're out there in the marketplace, we're packaging all these things up and writing compelling words. Is there a time frame that, I think a lot of times agents, especially with busyness, we just slap things together. We just write it out the first thing I'm guilty of it myself, and without considering what those words mean. If an agent was sitting there going, well, that's what I do, Glenn. I just type out an email and I just click send. Is there anything you can give them before we start with the specifics of content of what to say and where to say it and how to say it and stuff? Have you got any kind of hacks with the application of this in a real estate sense, knowing real estate agents as intimately as you do and having coached them to write good words, and sometimes you just write it for them? What are some hacks before we get started that an agent can take, timing wise, mindset wise, attitude towards work wise, and all of that sort of stuff? Okay,
cool. Yeah, great question. Good question. I like the idea of writing as you speak. When you read somebody's writing and it's good, and the person, you can almost hear their voice. And English used to be really stilted and difficult, and I think quite problematic as far as marketing goes. But if we just relax, and imagine if somebody asked you a question, and if I said to you, Glenn, what are your top three at the end of the day, all said and done, if you had to get a listing by 5:00 tonight, what would you do? Right? Just for example, you would then start to deliver. Okay, Ray, let me think about that. Okay, the first thing I'd probably do is I'd jump on the phone and speak to my contacts, right? So your language around that is probably the most important thing. At the end of the day,
I certainly would say I wouldn't say, well, right here are the 7 ways to key listings getting won by 5 p.m. Firstly of all, I would, we wouldn't use that typical written word parlance, I suppose, would we?
Yeah. Questions are great, and I can see already that I'm going to come back to email headlines, because getting an email open is your biggest challenge and my biggest challenge, and like everybody probably watching this video or listening to us on this podcast or whatever is a huge challenge. So how do we get our message open? And questions are terrific. And so let's just use that as an example. could you get a listing by 5 p.m., Glenn? I love using first name in the subject line. Or it might be ... if I had to get a listing by 5 p.m. today. So that just sets an expectation. Yes, I'm engaged. Yes, you've targeted your market, because your market is that person that wants to get a listing by 5 p.m. And it's the old FOMO, as they say, fear of missing out, or chance of gain, or fear of loss, which are the two biggest motivators when it comes to marketing. Is, can I afford not to read this? One of the best headlines I've ever done, I think the biggest open rate, had like a 70% open rate.
Unheard of. Unheard of. Look at this. Wait a minute. Let me just pull back. There's a million principles we've just mentioned in the last 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Look at the way your words just said. You pre-framed what you just said. And before I even know what you've just said, you just said some words that has me on the edge of my seat, because you said, however you worded it, how would you like to get a 70% open rate on your emails? It's unheard of in today's market. In today's market, 17% is freaking world beating. 70% is unheard of. But I love that, because I instantly felt my edge of seatedness increase when you said some words. So anyway, give it to me, but I want to draw these attention to the phenomena.
I've set an expectation. That's what, and the headline was, pray your competition doesn't see this.
Oh, Ray, you've just given me today's email headline, for my mail out. Pray your competition doesn't see this. Oh, Ray Wood. See, guys, you
6 words.
I have a love-hate relationship with Ray Wood. Love-hate. Because love him because of that. Hate him because the 4 words that Ray wrote, that, like, I was on Ray's podcast not so long back, and I challenged him, this should be his book title. And if it's not his book title, within 2 years, I gave him 2 years because he's a busy bloke, published in the bookshelves on my bookshelf. If his book isn't released with these 4 words as the title, then there will be a book in the marketplace with those 4 words as the title, but the author won't be Ray Wood. It'll be Glenn Twiddle. So, and so Ray, you can say, and we'll tease him, Ray. I'm not even going to tell him what the 4 words are, but they're the 4 best words I've ever heard. They've defined my career, and we'll tell you at the end. There you go. But,
okay.
Pray your
you're such a tease.
See, is that what it is, Ray? Pray your competition doesn't see this or read this. What was the word?
Pray your competition. I think I went pray your competition doesn't open this.
Doesn't open this. Cool. Because
doesn't open this email or something like
principle. That. I don't want to mess with it. Like, if it was open this or read this or see this, sometimes that one word can matter, can't it?
It can. It's huge. And the power of words is actually immense. You know what I want to do? Can I do something? We didn't rehearse, but we always work without it. We always work without a net anyway.
Without a net, that's right.
Have you heard about this new Australian startup called Bonjoro? I've got nothing to do with it, by the way. It's a real estate startup I've got nothing to do with.
I was going to say, of this new startup called Jiggler or Locked On 3.0, one of those two.
Yeah, that's right. No, this is totally different. And Bonjoro is I can send a little video. I'm going to send you one now. Is that cool?
Please. Yeah, please.
Okay. And it just packages up, talking about getting stuff open. So I'm going with Glenn at glenntwiddle.com.au.
Oh, that one actually won't be on my phone here. So GT, see, I'm giving it away now, my private email, GT at glenntwiddle.com.au.
ENNT.
For the official podcast, I'm going to delete this out. But for the guys who are on live now, you get my private email address. The only thing that goes to me. There you go.
Sorry to give you.
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
GT at Glenn. Okay. All right. So yeah, there we go. So what it does, it simply allows me very easily to package a little video. G'day, Glenn. It's Ray. Just wanted to say thank you for downloading the latest free version of Jiggler. Hit me up for a promo code and I'll give you 30 days for free. Cheers, buddy. Take care. Over and out. Don't forget to dream big and take names. Okay.
He's giving away the 4 words, bastard.
So I can even do a little message here. Hey, Glenn, you rock. So then it just looks a little bit like that. So there's my video playing. So I just send that to you. So that's going to go to your email.
Wow.
So,
I'm just looking at my headline for yesterday, Ray, and I don't know if it's good. My email headline for yesterday, this is mine to my database. It was, what a nightmare. It was what a nightmare. So I was designed to, it was a scare 'em tactic. It was like, well, it was a curiosity headline, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm just looking at that going, here I am with one of the best copywriters in the world, and look at that piece of what I thought was good. But
what was your open rate? Do you know?
I don't. No, I didn't look
Okay. Okay. One of the best headlines, and it's probably been done to death now, is bad news. So, you know, who knows?
Yeah, I'm writing that one down too. See, I'll never be on without pen, paper, and bad news. Agreed. What I tell you, my best headline open rate ever, and it probably again has been done to death, was hey, bracket. So hey, smiley face. Hey. Smiley face. Yeah.
That's lovely.
Another good one, man. I know this is embarrassing, but I was messing around with this because I wanted to show people that this whole bullshit 7 keys to a premium price or some sort of crap headline was rubbish, right? So I sent out that one as a split test with what up dog, and what up dog tripled 7 steps to a premium price or some such crap.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
What up dog? Because I wanted to think of something ridiculous.
Well, it kind of reflects, I think if you could do something that reflects your personality, I mean, you can't can somebody else's listing presentation. You can pick up a few good lines, but, you know, you're not going to be able to can it specifically. But back on point about, I got off track with, let me know if your Bonjoro comes through.
Let me have a look here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet. But that being said, that doesn't mean much. Okay. But we'll come back to my phone. Oh, here we go. Ray at Jiggler. Here we go. Hey, Glenn, you rock. And there is a video. If I just push play or click here to watch it, so all I've done was, let me just actually go back. That was what was sent. So it comes through as, hey, Glenn, you rock. So Ray sent you a message. There it is. When I click play on that video, very simple. Click here to watch it. It then goes to Ray's vid, and it allows me to push play.
G'day, Glenn. It's Ray. Just wanted to say thank you for downloading the latest free version of Jiggler. Hit me up for a promo code, and I'll give you 30 days for free. Cheers, buddy. Take care. Over and out. Don't forget to dream big and take names. Okay.
We can either reply or share. I can click say thanks here with one push of a little teddy bear button. And I don't know what that does at your end. Great little app. And I would suggest that its open rate with that video component would be far outweighing a normal email, I would suggest.
It is. It's about twice. I think my open rate's in the 60s or 70s or something. I think I've done 100. But what a cool idea. Following a listing, even a listing presentation, I would use that everywhere in real estate. Bonjoro, bonjoro.com. It's an Aussie startup out of Sydney. Great guys, they're getting in. It's brilliant. Starting to really get some traction here. I'm gonna try and get one of them on the show shortly. A lovely guy called Matt, who's the startup. But also, what about, you know, like after an open, you send a quick message to your vendor. Hi, Glenn, it's Ray. Just wanted to tell you I'll follow up shortly, but really good news. You know, like 40 groups through. Think we're probably going to get an offer. Watch this space, sort of thing. And it's such a personal message. So and it's a whole lot more engaging. So.
And that was getting back to the point of conversational copy. What you just showed us is the ultimate in conversational copy because it's a conversation.
Yep, totally. And I just got the message. There that Glenn has watched my vid. So it's like you can see what's going on. With an email, we don't know who's looking at it. With a text, we can. But anyway, something else. So the point there is that I'm engaging and I'm looking for fresh ways to engage. And I just think that is such a cool idea.
Well, we've got to get attention. I mean, that's the 7 keys to a listing supremacy. Well, actually the word supremacy probably is a better word, but some of the rubbish we've seen over the years is the exact opposite. You know, I've got a book back there called Purple Cow, and it's the exact opposite of a purple cowness is some of the stuff we've done. But Ray, actually, you know what? That brings up a question. Let me ask you this. You mentioned, see that, now we're in 2D there. See that book right there? That's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, however many copies of it there. How to Win Friends and Influence People. And in that book, it talks about using someone's name. How are things written back in the 20s or whenever How to Win Friends was written by Dale Carnegie, concepts like using someone's name, when does it become salesy and done to death? Because 7 steps to a great listing, to a great sale price or whatever, probably used to work at some stage. But it was the overuse of those things that lessened its impact.
Yeah.
Tell us about that phenomena. When is something a classic that will work forever versus something that gets diluted into almost uselessness?
Do you ever get tired of somebody using your name?
You know what? Sometimes I get sick of the sound of my own voice, Ray, I can tell you. But perhaps if I smell sales on it, you know what I mean? If I get a salesman that says, well, Glenn, and they use it too often, or you can just somehow smell salesiness on it, and that, they've read the book and they, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm hyper aware to it as well. I don't know. I'm open to that possibility.
I like using somebody's name. I'll use it as every opportunity. In fact, I think one of my first marketing lessons was as a kid with former Prime Minister Robert James Lee Hawke in those amazing interviews that he did on Channel 9 with Jana Wendt. And they'd flirt back and forward, and Hawkeye would go, well, Jana, and he'd use her name at every opportunity. I remember my dad saying, "See, he used her name. He's using her name. He's using it against her. It's working really, really well." So for a good right wing voter, my father. But that was an interesting lesson, and I think it's great when somebody remembers your name. I think it's really important.
Oh, for sure. And certainly, here's the thing that, Ray, as you and I know, we teach that we want to have our agents be considered by their marketplace as a famous person, even a local celebrity. And I know firsthand, whenever any of the genuine famous people that I happen to have met, like when this bugger here, serious name drop here, but when he mentions me, like we caught up accidentally in a cafe down in Santa Monica. I went to the cafe. I was walking out. He was walking in. And he says, Glenn, what the F are you doing here? Because I wasn't supposed to be in America at the time.
And you said, bugger off, Arnie. Can't you see I'm busy?
But you're right. If we position ourselves as that celebrity and we remember Bob's name, maybe not to that degree of bloody Schwarzenegger or whatever, but there's going to be an impact there of remembering someone's name sometime after we may have met them.
I reckon there's huge impact. Can we go back to old school a little bit and get into the guts of a direct mail letter? Because you can apply these principles really, really easily and really well to almost anything, any kind of communication. I'm talking about an ad for a property, anything at all. And the most important thing, I believe, is to have an engaging headline that's really gonna help people understand what you're up to. So one of the letters I've got is actually. Can I share my screen and show you? Will that work?
Yeah, please. And I'll kind of be, for our audio listeners, I'll be their eyes where I'll show what we're looking at. But Ray, can I ask you before we get into the power of a headline? Yep. Would that principle substitute for what we were talking about a moment ago, that a headline on a letter here would be the equivalent of an email subject line, or it would be the equivalent of perhaps the first line in a Facebook post, perhaps?
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. The formula works. And I'll tell you quickly what the formula is, and then we'll get into it. An attention-grabbing headline is number 1. Stir up and agitate, restate it, is number 2. Solve is number 3. So I've stirred up the problem. Now I'm going to solve it. Prove that I can solve it. And a great way to prove it is with testimonials or some kind of evidence. And then finally, a call to action. And the sixth thing in the sixth component to this, Glenn, is the PS, which basically ties everything together. So the PS kind of restates the whole thing. And I'll give you an example as to how it works. And this is a vague example, but it's a letter that worked very, very well. And the caption is, don't sell in Bondi, or substitute in there your suburb, until you've read this free book.
So for our audio listeners, I'll just substitute in. This is a direct mail piece we're looking at, but certainly we've talked about it could be a subject line on an email or whatever. And it's much bolder than the rest. So it truly is a headline in the truest sense of the word. Probably the font is about triple or quadruple the letter copy. Just so I'm the eyes of our audio listener.
I guess the difference with an email is that if I'm emailing somebody, I'm probably not emailing them cold. There is some kind of relationship there, because if you're on somebody's email list, you've got the power to opt out if you want. So this is a little bit different to that, and this actually could be a direct mail letter, and I should have made this distinction right at the start. But you've got two types of letters, like a hard copy actual letter. You've got a direct mail letter that's Mr. G. Twiddle, your address, dear Glenn. And then you've got what I call as a direct response letter. So that's not going to have any name or address on it, because you don't know the person's address. It's like a letter drop, which is the one I'm about to read out is. So the headline, don't sell in Bondi until you've read this free book. And it starts off, Dear Bondi, or Dear Warrnambool, or Dear Geelong, or wherever you're from, property owner. If you're selling real estate soon, you might be interested to know why your ultimate selling price can be influenced by a number of factors. So, okay, I'm stirring up that point. Everyday property sellers risk underselling, right? And I'm really dramatizing it. Their properties, and this is because real estate has no recommended retail price. However, now I'm coming to solve it. Every property seller can influence their selling price with the help of this best-selling real estate how-to guide. The task has never been easier. How to Sell Your Home for More has helped thousands. Now I'm coming to proving it, right? So I've solved it. How to Sell Your Home for More has helped thousands of property sellers achieve a higher sale price, and will do the same for you. So then I get on to prove it further. The best-selling guide is available in good bookshops for $24.95. However, we've been able to secure a limited number of books, blah, blah, blah. Now the call to action, and this has got to be simple. All you need to do is call our office. Now you'd say, update this. All you need to do is call or text number and mention you received this special offer. Kind regards, Andrea Johnson, Bondi Allied Realty, Bondi Beach, New South Wales. P.S. Free copies of the book are limited, so please call, I'm stating the number again, to secure this offer. So a little letter like that, it doesn't need to be war and peace. And real estate agents seem to have this fear of white space and want to fill it up with stuff. So I think less can definitely be more. And you don't want to have lots of different offers here. You just want to give them one thing. Here's my marketing analogy, Glenn. Let's get our message across. If I was standing across the room from you and I had, say, 6 oranges in my hands, and without any notice I said, hey, Glenn, and I threw them at you, you'd probably duck, right? Yep. Or you'd protect yourself. But if I held one orange up and I said, hey, Glenn, made eye contact, and then I threw it, chances are you're going to catch it. I think in real estate all too often we throw 6 oranges. We throw too many messages. So my argument is, let's just keep it simple. You don't need to put anything on the back of a letter, but if you do, and actually this is a letter that you would put something on the back of. You know what goes on the back of here? I'm flying without a net here, and you might cringe at it, but I just fill it up with testimonials. Exactly, 100%, 100%. So in fact, if I was going into a listing presentation and there was a law that you could only send one piece of paper for a listing presentation, I'd just send testimonials. Because me too. I could stand there and tell everybody how good I am all day, but they're going to go, yeah, of course you are. Of course you're doing that because you want the business. But when you can get a great testimonial from somebody else, it has so much power. I built a career on that, mate. You know what I mean? Yep. The two things I would suggest that I've done well, and with your copywriting mastery, you've got 20 things. I've done 2 things. I write conversationally because I'm too lazy to critique. I just write what I think and click send. And I let other people sell me. Yep. Like I let my former students sell my future students. Yep. That's it. You know, there's Glenn Twiddle's marketing plan in a nutshell. Yeah. Well, if you're in business today doing anything and you haven't got testimonials from clients, then why not? I mean, look at the power of Rate My Agent. And I know people groan when I say that a lot of the time. I mean, those that are doing well, I'm sure Tim Heaviside, the agent of the year, the Rate My Agent agent of the year, isn't groaning. But like I keep saying, it's the TripAdvisor for agents. It was only a matter of time before it came around. So it's other people. Like, I'm reluctant now to go to a resort or to go to a restaurant until I check it out online. I'll do a search. I'll find out what's going on.
Absolutely. Yep.
Does it suck? Is it awesome?
Yep.
And then I won't hesitate to leave a review either.
Right. It's not like you can afford to only do Rate My Agent. If you don't have, 80 at 5 on Facebook reviews, if you don't have your Google reviews, if you're lacking in any one of those majors, you need to do a campaign with your best people to fill up Google and Facebook and Rate My Agent and all of them with your best raving fans, so to speak.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
Because what if I'm looking for you on Google and I see the 1-2-star agent and you're saying, oh, but I've got 80 on Facebook, Ray, at 5. Why didn't you look there? Well, you know what? The consumers aren't following our direction. They do what they want, not what we want.
Yeah. Well, the days have changed. I mean, marketing's changed completely, and the good thing, here's another thing. And I did a great interview. I think it was a good interview this week. It's my second interview with him, and I think you gave me the heads up on him. I think I've got you to thank for my connection with Scott Lackman, who is just doing such a brilliant job. And we talked about, why aren't more agents grabbing somebody in their community, throwing up video together and promoting that? I just think it's amazing. Back in the day, if we take out an ad in the paper, Glenn, and within 24 hours it'd be gone, it'd be yesterday's news. Now you do a video, it's there forever, or for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, well, and everything forever, as long as you pay 1 cent to have one of your community members watch it, for heaven's sake. And of course, that's dating our interview when Ray, this podcast, which lasts forever, it's been throughout the years, they'll be sitting there going, shit, you used to be able to get a Facebook view for 1 cent. We're going to be looking back on these years when you get a 1, 2, or a 3 cent view from our targeted market. They're going to be looking back saying, those lucky bald bastards back in the day, when it's $1.50 a view. Because, Ray, you and I know if we've got a highly targeted person who is a avatar for our service, we pay $1 to have them listen to us for 30 seconds to a minute, and we're being asked a cent.
Yeah.
We're in great times. We are in great times right now.
Terrific times.
So I agree with Scotty Lackman. He is, for those guys who don't know him, check him out, 4510 TV. He is probably the best example I've ever seen of getting a community and loving them to death and them rewarding him with a 7-figure income.
Yeah, they come to him now. He's had more than 2.6 million views, Glenn, on all his videos. I mean, that is phenomenal. And he's got an exciting project at the moment, dealing with men's health and mental health and stuff like that. He's just doing so much in his community, and it's genuinely altruistic, and he's just got such a good following. And I think it's such an amazing formula. I mean, what else can we do in our communities to stand out? Like I drive around and see all these faces on bus signs and back of buses and stuff. It's like, what? I don't know. $200 a month for that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for personal branding and things, but I agree with you 1,000% that there are, 6 times 300 and whatever days. There's 2,000 odd days when they don't need us for our real estate services.
Yep.
And there's, maybe a week where they might be considering who to use for a real estate agency. So I often suggest, as I did to Scott, as I do to many of our guys, hey, how about every now and then we do some marketing, and Scott's taken this to the nth degree where that's all he does. Let's market to them for the 1,993 days where they don't need a real estate agent rather than for the 7 days where they do.
Yep.
Yep. Scott's a shining example of it.
Somebody woke up this morning in your suburb and mine and decided to sell if we're agents. If they didn't call us, it can only be because there's no relationship.
Yeah.
So why not start to engage these people? And the beautiful thing about what Scott's doing, here's the hidden gold in this, Glenn, in my view. Tell me what you think. When he interviews young Darren, who's the kung fu champion, just won the local championship for the state or province or whatever. And then Darren and his family share that. Scotty's suddenly in front of people that he never would have been before. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what the population of Caboolture is. Is it more than 50,000 or?
Yeah,
maybe it's 100,000.
Like any suburb because it's Caboolture, but then there's a surrounding area. And Scott is known in that surrounding area to 50,000, 100,000 plus people. But, he's also known everywhere that if you put onto Facebook right now, say, hey, go to any of the Facebook groups and say, hey, who's a good agent in Caboolture? You can bet your butt that Scott Lackman's name is going to get tagged in a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, totally, 100%. So he's done really, really well. So as far as emails go, I think the time to send your email. I like sending an email either first thing, 7 or 7:30 or something like that. Especially if I'm sending out the latest weekly episode of my podcast, because people can listen to it on their commute. Or a lot of self-starting agents are up early and getting into it. And
we're still live, Ray, and they're still on there now. They're commenting below. We might even take a couple of questions after we do the official thing. They're on there now in the 5 a.m. club. Agreed.
Throw any questions at us. So, well, it's your gig, but
throw some questions down below, guys. And after we've done the official recording, we'll take a few. So, Ray, come back to that formula, if I can. Yep. You demonstrated that formula magnificently, and it's certainly a formula that I have used. The attention, problem, aggravate, solve, prove, call to action.
PS.
Yeah, with PS, absolutely.
Yep.
Let's talk about working to formula. I really like the formula because I've used it. Why is it that you mentioned it before, and I've seen you write it before, where it's a moving away from something yucky. And the example you used was you might undersell, where the avoidance of underselling your property, is that more compelling than the achieving of a premium price, which is the moving towards something pleasurable versus moving away from something painful? Can you talk about that from a formulaic perspective and maybe why that works? And are there any other examples of kind of away from motivation that might be compelling, if indeed that is the secret?
Okay. Well, I think it is the secret. It's certainly got to be something that you hit on. Chance of gain or fear of loss are the two biggest motivators. When you can combine them, it's twice as powerful.
Mm.
So one of the, and you've probably heard this headline, Glenn, or seen it. I studied it back in the David Ogilvy day. I don't know if it's the late David Ogilvy's actual copy, but the headline is, and it's one of the most famous, and it's always quoted in direct mail lessons, is everybody laughed when I sat down to play, when I sat down at the piano. Yeah. But when I started to play, ... Yeah. So that's kind of, who am I targeting? Somebody, they were selling piano lessons. Mm. So it's fear, it's fear of loss. Like, yes, that nervousness and anxiety really affects me. All I want to do is sit down and play, but I'm scared that I'll look like an idiot. So, hey, I still haven't played guitar yet. So, speaking of music, but so the chance of gain was in the second part of that headline. But when I started to play, and here's another great thing: if you can create it so people see themselves in the image, I call it, do you see yourself in the family photo? It's like it's one of those great closing lines at an open house. Do you see yourself living here? If not, then what are you doing here? Let me show you another property. If so, then let's see if we can help you buy it. Do you see yourself in the picture? So if you can create that from a marketing point of view, and if you can target somebody and appeal to them on that basis, it's very, very powerful.
I love formulas like that. I'm just sort of thinking, they laughed when I put Arnold Schwarzenegger headlining on my goal list. Then when it happened or something, because I tell you, Ray, they did. I was accused when I first launched that first Arnold Schwarzenegger event back in the day. I was accused of it being a publicity stunt, and I hadn't booked it. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was such an unbelievable achievement. in their mind. And that was the biggest compliment ever. Them accusing me of it being a publicity stunt that wasn't real. I'm thinking, well, you just wait, because the egg on face that's going to be, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when I had these haters that were sitting there literally laughing. Thinking that they were onto my publicity stunt. Then when he walks in,
I remember when I first saw it. I think I was because I've used this little app on my phone called Voxer. I don't know if you use it all the time, but
I'm a WhatsApp man.
And I was talking to Aaron and Luke Newton at Locked On, and I remember Luke saying, geez, Glenn's got to have the biggest pair of cojones on the planet, I reckon.
That's what Aaron said. Aaron Shiner, we're talking. Aaron called me. That's what he said to me.
Is it true? Is it true? But get people talking about you. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. So how could give us a couple of those, because there are some wonderful formulaic headlines that have done some magnificent stuff written by the greats like David Ogilvy, like Gary Halbert, and you can study both of those guys for pennies in the dollar, if not free. If you can Google Gary Halbert, you can probably one of the greatest copywriters that ever lived.
Yeah, definitely.
And but what are some of the I'm just thinking, how can we take a formula like They Laughed and do what I just did? So they laughed when I sat down at the piano, then when I started to play. So what might be a real estate version of that? They laughed when, insert, then insert.
Yeah. Who's our market? Are we targeting?
Let's say a real estate agent let's say a real estate agent wanting to get that first part of your formula, attention.
Okay. I would engage and build and solidly build expectation. And let's come back to those 3 points I made before, what every seller wants, or in my view, what every seller wants. And I think it's fairly accurate. They want a top market price, they want it in a reasonable time, and they want a great real estate experience, right? So what is going to pique their interest? I think with sellers, yes, they want the relationship, but it's all about the money. They want to get a good result. And what does every seller want? They want, they'd love to know that they had 2 or 3, buyers or something. So what about a headline, how I handled this bidding war or something like that? So that automatically says, I'm talking about a victory. And then the body copy says, every seller's wildest dream is to have competing buyers and they get involved in a bidding war. I don't know, I'm just thinking about this off the top of my head. You wouldn't believe this recent example in blah, 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 where we had 4 or 5 people and then we had this bidding war. Here's what transpired. Net result was a sale price 15% over the owner's reserve or whatever it might be. In fact, the owner was so delighted, they said, talking marks, "Dear Glenn, can't believe the result you got. Can't believe you were able to handle all those buyers. Many thanks, Jane and Bill." Throw the testimonial in there. So, and then your call to action could be, if you'd like a current update and work towards a result like Jane and Bill, call or text me 24/7 on blah, 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 whatever the number might be. So it depends who your market is, but how are you going to engage them? And headlines are boring. Email headlines are boring. Don't fall for that. Don't go Q3 or Q3 property report, rain and horn. Nah, I'm sorry. I'm going to find the tallest building and jump. I just want, you've got to be able to engage them. And I think engaging is the most important thing. So I just sit down, I turn everything off. Can we just talk about quickly how to write copy?
Yeah, please.
I like to do it in the morning. I'm pretty buzzed after a double shot latte and do a little bit of deep breathing. Sometimes if I've been meditating, my head's even clearer. I love that. And it's just like I'm in a great space. And I write down what's the issue. What's the single issue I'm trying to solve? What's the number one thing? Or what's the thing I'm trying to offer here? Or if I'm offering something, what problem is it solving? What's the pain point for my market? What's the issue? Are they worried about the market? Are they worried about days on market? Are they worried about being pushed to sell? Are they upsizing, downsizing, moving to a new? Do they need to hire a moving company? What are the pain points? And it could be a combination of any one of all of those. It's about knowing your market. But if you can put a series of those things together
And it only needs to be 200 or 300 words, but they're very powerful. And here's a great way to repurpose that. And you can do this for a shoestring. Let's just set up a blog. So every time you write an email, copy and paste that straight into your blog and keyword it, right? Selling in Chermside real estate Chermside, buying real estate in Chermside, downsizing in Chermside, whatever it might be. So guess what happens? The longer that's in there, people go in and they're moving to Bris and they're looking, they think about Chermside. That blog's going to start to come up on their radar. So
certainly. And
I like to get an email out weekly too, by the way. Don't be afraid of and guys, don't be afraid of people unsubscribing. It's a free country. Yeah. If they don't want your message, I mean, it happens to Glenn and I every day. We don't care.
Jesus.
There's 10 more that come on for every one that leaves.
Ray, my challenge is, some of my people who are listening to this are laughing when they say weekly. When I'm pumped up about a freaking something that I'm on, now I know my business is kind of more, I've got an event or whatever. It's not ongoing. It's an event. I go hard. But you know what? It is almost ongoing because the minute I've stopped one event, I'm on to the next one. But, I have to literally discipline myself to only do it daily. Yep. If it was up to me, 3 times a day. 3 times a day. Yeah. So, but I'm not saying that's right for real estate agents. I am saying probably weekly is, maybe twice a week or something. I wouldn't say daily. I wouldn't follow my lead on that one.
I think if I were in real estate now, Glenn, I'd probably do it on a Thursday because it's coming up to the weekend. I'd do it once a week and I'd just give it a name, the Thursday Blast or I don't know.
Thursday Thunder. I love alliteration. The Thursday Thunder or something.
something like that. Yeah. So
Ray, let me just, because I've got 2 things I want to draw attention to, because when I've got someone who is unconsciously competent, which you are, I like to draw attention to things that they do that is brilliant. Like before when you said, and here was your copy, and this is why, guys, this hour that you've sat through is a great intro to it, but it can't be the end of your copywriting learnings. So I actually bought the rights to a copywriting course by a generalist copywriter. And if you guys want a copy, just PM me on Facebook and I'll find whether I have to charge you for the cost price for that or whether I can gift it to you. Because at the moment I don't have an electronic version of it. We've got folders. By the time you listen to this, I might just be able to send you an email. But I bought the rights to it. So you can definitely get that either for free or for cheap. But what Ray said that shows how unconsciously competent he is, that he speaks in great words, was when you said, "Here's how I handled this bidding war." What I loved, Ray, within that sentence, in order to read the sentence and say, wow, I wonder how he did handle the bidding war, the reader had to presuppose that there was a bidding war. And what a bidding war means is the presupposition laced in to make sense of the sentence, the reader had to assume you got multiple offers. You couldn't read the sentence without making that assumption. Yeah. And I love that's, presupposition laced into the language. And I don't know, Ray, is that unconscious competence or did you luck out with that? Did you learn that principle and you've used it so often that you just speak in perfect copy now? How did that happen?
I think I've written that many emails, Glenn, and I'm big on the stats. I'm big on working out what gets open and what doesn't, that I learn quickly. So who am I speaking to? What's their pain point? What's their dream? What do they really want? What's their holy grail of wishes at the moment? If I'm talking about a bidding war, that's what every seller wants. At the end of the day, sellers want buyers fighting over their property, fighting with money. And that's a great way to be able to capitalize on that, I think, is to be able to just shortcut it. Because again, people see themselves in that photo, don't they? I'm a seller. Hey, he's talking to me. Like, what did this bidding war? Maybe I can get a bidding war going.
So I'm sitting there trying to think to myself, if my client, which is you lot, right? I'm sitting there, okay, you guys want to be $1 million agent. How Chris Gilmore squandered $800,000 of his $1 million that he earned last year. I don't know. Yep. I don't know. Food for thought. And that's what we got to do. We got to workshop that. We got to brainstorm that down to, because it's probably not going to be right on the first time. But anyway, I'm a work in progress. I love you. Ray, you've already worked on this. Pray your competition doesn't open this. You're going to get that email today, you lot.
Now, what about this one, Glenn? What about
diesel? Okay, wow, yeah, love. Screen grab that one, peeps. For you guys listening to the audio, Ray, I'll let you do the honors. How
a sack diesel mechanic made $250,000 from this real estate flyer in 6 months.
Very nice. A little bit of animation there for our video viewers. Very nice. Okay.
Thank you, Keynote. Yeah. So okay, I'm interested in that story. I mean, I thought, okay, we've got this great flyer in Jiggler. It's a free account. People can do it. Here's a guy was out of work, had a young baby and a girlfriend, and he just got sacked from his job. Blah blah blah. It's a good story. It's a real story. So in 6 months, he did $250K just by doing this one thing. So let's look at you and me as examples. What do our people want? They're looking for listings, and they're looking for how to make sales. They might be looking for getting price reductions and stuff. I think prospecting is the hot button for a lot of people. How can I prospect better? How can I attract more contacts? How can I engage more people? I reckon we've just given the best tip on planet Earth today, talking about Scott Lackman. I wonder how many people will go to 4510tv.com and copy it. I bet you less than 1% of the people
not enough.
Actually do it.
Not enough. Because you know what? Scott's strategy, heaven forbid, in order to get a 7-figure income, which, I mean, imagine, Ray, if we were paying in cash and you had $20,000 in cash every week handed to you. What would you do for that? Well, I tell you, you do what Scott Lackman's doing, because the problem with what Scott's doing, unfortunately, no magic pill, bit of work involved.
Yeah.
It's work.
Yep.
And,
but it is, though.
You know,
but yeah, he gets out. He told me he pays a couple of $100 for his video guy to do it. He does once a week. Work that out to a year. I think it's the best investment he can possibly make.
Couldn't agree more.
So,
I mean, Ray, when you endear yourself, here's kind of and this is moving away from copywriting into marketing, but when you endear yourself to your target market in a genuine way, where you know what, back in one of these books here, we got, in fact, has it got it here? No, I don't have it. It's normally an arm's length away. It's like up there somewhere is the thank you economy. Up there somewhere is jab, 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 right hook. And Ray, you and I have both had Gary Vaynerchuk in our world. When you to your marketplace could just give first without expectation of return, you get given all the return you want. I mean, there's a Harley Davidson in that next bloody room, Ray, that Glenn Twiddle didn't pay for. My marketplace paid for it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a symptom of what Scott Lackman does. Just keep giving. Just keep giving to your world, and good stuff. I mean, Zig said it best. Zig Ziglar. Help enough people get what they want, and you get everything you want. And we've drifted away from compelling words, I suppose, but boy, oh boy, that principle works great guns. So I agree with you about implementation of what we talk about with Mr. Lackman. And I hope I'd love it if he was on here. I don't know. Let me just check the thread, see if he's on, Ray. But let me ask you this. This was the question I had, Ray, and it's very selfish of me. I had an email that I did a couple of days ago that worked well in the email format. Sold a bunch of tickets, right? Sold a bunch of tickets to this upcoming event, the $1 Million Agent Summit. Buy a ticket now. But I cut and paste that email into a Facebook post.
Nice.
Crickets. My question to you, Ray, is have you got any insights into how copywriting principles vary from media to media? And I am asking specifically with Facebook, but is there a variance, or did I just, get lucky with the email in this case? I don't know.
Did you boost it?
I waited to see if there was any action with my organic audience. So on my profile, actually, no, in the group, I have a group of 5,000 real estate agents. And when there's crickets on that, I don't want to waste anything on the boost. You know what I mean? I want to be boosting winners, not boosting duds.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I think the Facebook algorithms are changing almost daily at the moment.
It's a tough media to master.
It is so difficult, and it's difficult for it's often difficult for what we're marketing as well, because, a lot of agents have messed with Facebook, and a lot of agents have wasted a lot of dough. But good on people for trying. Look, the answer's always no until you ask, right? But I don't know about Facebook. It's often, okay, we're engaging people at the moment, but hardcore, really, it's about, pictures of your sister's cat or your mum on the cruise, or some of the stupid stuff that we do up at the cottage on the lake or on the snowmobiles and stuff like that. having a bit of fun. I don't know. That seems to be the stuff that I enjoy. I don't probably use it a lot. I probably don't use it enough. But there's a lot of agents that do. There's a lot of agents doing very, very well with Instagram as well. So anyway,
yep. For sure. For sure. Well, Ray, we're going to let you go, man. It's 5 a.m. here. We've had let me just see if there are any questions on our live thread. We've got Zach McCarty. You were mentioning Chermside before. Zach's on there. 2 massive champs together.
That's why I mentioned it. G'day, Zach.
Okay, cool. Hey, I'm not seeing all my comments. I'm only seeing 4. Are there any more? So you might be able to see this better than I, Ray. I don't know.
No, I can't. I've got a message from I can see Tim Webb. I can see Jeff.
Tim from NZ. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, no, here we go. Oh, there you go. I have that. There you go. Kathy is saying, good morning. Massive value in this video, Glenn. Thanks. Don't thank me. Thank the great man up here, Ray Wood. By the way, Ray, how can we did mention, and I'll make sure I put this in the show notes and I'll put this everywhere, that your podcast is literally weekly or, so often I'm honored to have been on it. Yep. Talk about your podcast, The Top Agents Playbook, and where they can get that and all the goodies that are in that for our crew here.
Okay, well, go to topagentsplaybook.com. Actually, no, you know what, Glenn? Better go to Top Agents Tools, because some of this content is in there. If you go to topagentstools.com and send me your name and email, and I'll send you back a PDF with a lot of this good stuff. If you'd like more information about direct mail power, then reach out to me. Definitely let me know, and I will send you a link. But I'll send you that link, Glenn. It's topagentstools.com.
Are you giving that bugger away? Jesus, Ray, I bought that. I need my money back. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was worth every penny. It was
this is a different thing. This is a different
No, I mean direct mail power. Direct mail power back in the day when it was first written and you were selling it.
Yeah.
Look, worth it.
So you used it
free, right? You buggers.
You used it, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm honoured that over the years you've allowed me to share some of those letters with our students. And believe me, it ain't just, that's why I'm saying, Ray, there's probably been more appraisals generated globally based on your words than any other human living. And mate, that's a testament to you, my man. And I congratulate you on a lifetime of serving others. And I love that. In turn, you've been served well as well, and rightly so.
Thank you. Thanks, buddy. Here's what's involved in. Can I just give this a quick plug, because this is the freebie that people can access, and through the magic of the interwebs, I will do that. So if you go to topagentstools.com, you can quickly download this guide where I've got some telephone scripts and awesome pre-listing kit and listing pres, so to get pre-sold before you even arrive, and a heap of other things. So I will. I'll make that available, Glenn. People can check that out, and that's the URL to use: topagentstools.com.
Wow,
hey, it's been a blast.
Yeah, ditto, mate. Ditto, and mate, I'm honoured. We got to do this again on our podcast, because when it comes to there's so many elements to copywriting. Let's maybe schedule this in every couple of months or something, so that we can over time get people through some basics, get people through some advanced strategies. And Ray's pulled out the axe. I like it. Next time. Wait a minute. I don't know if this will work, Ray, because we're across the world. What key are you playing there?
G, the only one I know.
The G chord. Thank God there's a song called "Thank God for the G chord." I'm not plugged in. When it comes to electric
they got
guitars,
married early, never had no money. Then when he got laid off, it really hit the skids. Started up his drinking, then they started fighting. Took it pretty badly. She took both the kids. He said, I'm not standing by to watch you slowly die. See me walking out your door. Ooh.
Paul Kelly epic. Used to do that one at gigs. I wish I had my guitar plugged in. I used to do the solo to that one. Next time. I don't know if that'll work. Synced across the planet. If you put a piece of bread down on your ground outside, and I put a piece of bread down out on my front yard, we'd have an earth sandwich.
We would. I didn't know where you were going then. So yeah. Next call, you got to get ready. We'll play Stacey's mum.
Oh my God, Stacey's mum. Oh, Stacey's mum got it going on. Oh my goodness. Ray Wood, it has been a pleasure, sir.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Great to chat, and thank you, GT. And everybody, hook. This is unrehearsed or unprompted. May 8th to 11. Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, 4 days. You're going to be exhausted. So I hope you're going to Rotto for a little bit of R&R after that Perth gig.
Mate,
that's crazy.
It never stops, brother. Let me give you the hint, Ray. I'm dropping it now on you. This won't be in the official version. So what I will do is I'll say, guys, I'm going to sign off now on the recording. Thanks for listening. You've been talking with Ray Wood. And until next time, folks, bye for now. And you should be on these things live because you get the knowledge drops that I'm going to drop now. But for everyone else, see you later. All right. So Ray, here it is. So only for my 5 a.m. club members and only for you. Tell your friend Aaron Shiner later this year, I have just signed paperwork. I've booked George St. Pierre for my event.
Oh, no way.
Is Aaron going to die? He is going to die. Aaron Shiner is going to die. Yeah. So we've booked him. So that's so as soon as this one's over, Ray, we'll be talking about GSP. That one won't be a real estate one though. It'll be a total success summit.
Do you have a date vaguely?
No.
Okay.
You know what? I do, but I can't say it yet. Not allowed.
We're in talks.
Yeah. No, well, we're signed. We have paper. Yeah. We have paper. I never talk about it until I have signatures, which we have. But I don't want to say a date because just in case it's open for him to change it. When you deal with global legends, you do when they say. So, but no, so it's pretty
King of Montreal. I can see his house from here, just up the lake.
Is he in your city? Yep. Wow.
No, I'm in Toronto. We're about 7-hour drive south, but it's just up the St. Lawrence Seaway. So
right, yeah, I've heard he's
around the corner,
a Canadian icon up there. I've heard he's an icon.
He is, yeah, and an amazing guy too, apparently.
Oh, very much so. So no, that's
congratulations.
So it's gonna be fun. But yeah, for this upcoming one, Ray, I tell you, it's nuts. But that being said, man, both of us, we could be laying bricks for a living. Imagine that, wouldn't that suck? You know, we have the best job in the frickin' world. We get to share knowledge, get remunerated for it. Have some fun and shit. If that means we've got to get up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. every now and then, hey, screw it. I'll take it, you know.
You're up that early anyway. What are you talking about? All right, buddy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you,
Great to chat. I'll speak to you soon.
Mate. See you, buddy.
Thanks, GT.
Bye, mate. Wow. Well, there you go. I hope you liked the episode. If you liked that, then what you need to do is you need to subscribe. You need to get more of this craziness because we got more coming. I'm never standing still, and we've got so many more guests. We've got so many more strategies, more out-of-the-box thinking. So if you haven't subscribed, literally, you're like throwing away thousands of dollars. Because I tell you, if you haven't subscribed, you don't come back. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find you, I'm going to market to you, and I'm going to charge you for the very stuff that on this podcast we give away for free. So whack that subscribe button on whatever your favorite podcast weapon of destruction is, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.